career men and women as well as professionals in my platform. Happy New Year! By the way, it's the last time we are now saying Happy New Year because January is coming to an end. My name is Janestar Mugure. I am aspiring to be a career coach, a certified one for that matter. So stay tuned for good content on matters relating to corporate workplace, career growth, and all matters relating to the job. I'll be featuring every Thursday at 1:30 p.m. So while at it, please subscribe, like, share, and leave a positive comment down below. Today's video is all about interview tips. It's a continuation of the video I did last week on job hunting tips. So now after applying the tips I shared and you are lucky enough to secure a job and you're given that interview invitation either through a call, an SMS, an email, or a verbal communication, you've landed yourself like 50% of what is required to secure the job. So what you give out during the interview is very, very important. And by the time you're being called for an interview is because the hiring person has seen you are a potential fit for the job they are recruiting for. So I want us to talk about some few tips that can help you ace and pass the interview. Most likely the first interview, because many corporate jobs have 2-level interviews, and so today I'll just focus on the first level interview. Number one tip that will help you secure that job is working on your confidence. How you show up in the room and how you believe in yourself when expressing yourself to the interviewees really matters. And by confidence, I mean how you dress. You need to dress in a manner that can speak volumes about you. Even before I get to know anything about you, I've already made a conclusion simply by looking at how you're dressed. So depending on the nature of the job, some companies will need people to wear suits, especially banks. So if you're going for a banking interview, you're supposed to put on an interview. If you are going for other industries, they'll just require you to be in smart officials. So for ladies, you can just put a nice dress and a blazer. And it should not be sleeveless like this one. This one is not official. And for the gents, you just put on a dark trouser and a bright shirt together with your tie. So look for the clothes you're going to wear on that day. Fit them, the shoe you're going to wear. Look at yourself in the mirror. Whoa, shit. Me else na ass zilikata. Anyway, look at yourself in the mirror and ensure you look good. Because how you're dressed determines how people are going to address you. The second thing on building your confidence is learning to communicate. When you're there on that space, speak with courage, get to know what you want to talk about, speak clearly, apply official language. If it's English, strictly stick to English. You don't go speaking Sheng and your mother tongue in an interview. The third thing you need to work on matters relating to confidence is understanding what the job is all about. And on that, you're supposed to familiarize yourself with the job description so that you're prepared for answering questions that are related to that. When you know what you expect to be interviewed for, determining with the role you applied for, then you will be better placed to answer your questions confidently. And that brings me to tip number 2. Research about the company. Get to know what is this company's mission, what is its vision, what are the core values, what is its mission statement, what are the financial statements, where does it rank in the industry you're operating in. Because in an interview, you will be asked, tell us 4 core values of company X. Do you really want to miss a question on core values, something that is readily available on a company's website? You need to know who are the leaders in that organization. What are the current trends in that company? Most of the times, you need to know you're coming to work in this organization because you are impressed by one or two things about that company. And the employer expects you to have something that has made you look forward to working in that organization. So research everything about that company. Get to know whether it made profits in the previous financial year. Get to know what are some of the activities they've been involved in, the corporate social responsibility. Because you might also be asked, why are you choosing this company? So you need to have something good about them that makes you want to work with them. Even though sometimes it's a lie, you just want the job for the money, not because they are doing anything good to the society. So research and research about the company. Don't miss out any question ignorantly on matters about that organization. Number 3 tip that will help you secure that job during the interview is learning how to answer some of the frequently asked questions. For example, tell us about yourself. That is the first question you'll be asked in any interview. And when the hiring manager asks you that question, it's not your time to tell us about your children and how you've been wanting a high-paying job, a 6-figure job or salary. No. You're supposed to say about your professional background. What is your education background? Where did you study? Which course did you pursue? Where have you worked? And which skills do you have that are really essential in helping you do this job? Another question that you are likely to be asked is, tell us about your strengths. You don't tell us about how good you are at helping people. We want you to tell us good attributes about yourself that are in line with the job. For example, being a team player. Being someone who learns things very fast is an added advantage to the recruiter. Being very flexible also is a point. It's a plus. Tell us about your weaknesses. Don't tell us you don't keep time. Well, it might be your weakness, but we expect if you're supposed to work by 8, you are in the office before 8. So, saying you are not good at timekeeping may work against you. Weaknesses are things that you know you have them. They are not so bad. They are negative, but you put them in a colorful way. To the extent that you can say, I struggle with working on the last minute, but it is something I'm working to improve on because I've realized I don't perform well when I do my things last minute. So you must say the weakness, then you counter it with how you're working towards making it a strength. You may also be asked a question like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Depending again with the job and wherever you are at your career level, you need to be very clear on where you want to be. Where is your career direction? That one needs to come out so clearly. So can you rehearse on such questions? I think I'll do a video on most likely questions to be asked in an interview. There's a full video. So for now, get to know those are the most questions you will experience and tailor-make your answers in a very convincing manner. Number 4 tip is general behavior and etiquette during and after the interview. One of the unspoken rules when you're being interviewed is you're supposed to keep time. Be there maybe 30 minutes earlier. Sometimes interviewers will finish their interview 30 minutes early. So if the next person is ready, they'll just call you in. Go freshen up before the interview. Get to know the location and the room where you're being interviewed, because at times the receptionist may not even have an idea you are being interviewed. So when you get there on time, you have ample time to prepare yourself and to get settled. You need to carry a book and a pen so that you can highlight some of the questions that are asked, and as you process the answer, you also need to create your own questions that you're going to ask the interviewers after the end of the interview. Then once the interview ends, it is courteous to say a note of thank you. Remember also to be guided by the interviewer. Observe what they want you to do. You don't just get in and you are like, hey, I'm here. Ask me the questions. I'm ready to answer. No. At times, people may even provoke you and you're expected to remain calm. You're supposed to regulate your emotions. It's also unspoken that you should always say the truth. The reason you're looking for a job is because you want a higher salary or you just want income if you are an entry-level person. So it's critical you get to know what amount of salary you are looking at. If it's your first-time job, then based on how the industry is performing, you need to know what is the salary for an entry-level person. It may be 20,000, it may be 30,000, depending on the company. If you are changing jobs, then there is a minimum that you cannot move. The most recommended increment for you to change jobs is 30%. But sometimes you may not get that 30%. So are you willing to settle for a 20%? If it's a 10%, surely you don't have to change jobs because you've got a 10% increment. The move has to be good. You don't just take a job because it is available. So can you research about the salary that role you applied for is paid? You can ask people who work in that organization. Maybe you DM them on LinkedIn. Then they tell you, they may not give you the exact figure, but they can tell you a range. Maybe for a senior supervisor, the salary is between 150,000 to 200,000. So that even when you are asked, how much salary do you expect us to pay? You will say 180,000. Then what's the minimum you will take? Then at that point you say 150,000. The employer is looking at paying the least, but getting the best candidate. So your negotiation skills have to be very good, and you clearly need to know the exact amount of salary you want and your threshold. You don't just take anything that is offered to you, even if you desperately need a job. If it's the first time you're working, the job must pay you a salary enough to cater for your rent, for your transport, for your food. You don't want to say you are working, but still ask your family members to support you. So salary is very key. Google, we even have pay scales on the internet. So you can be able to know this role pays this much. And with that, you will be better suited to answer that question of how much do you want to be paid. And you may be surprised that you quoted for a small figure, yet when you get into that organization, you realize people are even paid double what you quoted. So can you get your facts right about the salary before the day of the interview? The interview process is a selling point. Willing buyer, willing seller. The employer is willing to hire you, and you're also willing to get the job. So you both need to come to a middle ground. And having said that, you need to have gone through your resume and the CV. Okay, I don't think there's any difference between a resume and a CV before, and understood everything you've written in that CV. You need to showcase your achievements and especially accomplishments that are in line with the job that have been advertised. When you put a hobby, some of you put a hobby like traveling, then during the interview you are asked, so where was the last place you visited? And you are like, it look like someone who is not sure about what they are saying. Or some people say their hobby is reading, and you are asked, so which book are you currently reading? And you can't say anything about it just because you pinpointed hobbies and skills from here, right and center. Then you come and put them blindly in your CV. You don't do that. You also need to tailor your CV in terms of the jobs you've done previously to match whatever is in the job description. Because you have to be the right candidate for this role. Make sure you can take someone through your CV even without having a copy that you are proofreading through. Also, as you come into the interview, it's good to make 2 copies of the CV. Then you give it to as much as most of the times they have it in hand, it's just out of courtesy, you can pre-print, then give them copies. The final part of the interview process is usually taken back to the interviewee, and the panelists will ask you, do you have any questions for us? So it's your moment of shining. So you can ask them questions like, so how do my interviewing skills match up with the candidate you are looking for? You can also ask them, how long have you been in this organization? Get a little bit personal. You may even ask them, what makes you look forward to coming to work for this company? And maybe it's also time to ask them, do you really expect another interview? How long will they take before they get back to you, or they'll never get back? So you get to also thank them for giving you the chance to be interviewed, and then you leave the room. After you've left, you will definitely know whether you've passed or not. Chances are high, depending on how you've performed, you will get the job. And also, you might be the right candidate and the best interviewee, but they have their own preferred candidate. So if you get a rejection email saying that you didn't succeed in the interview, it does not always imply that you didn't perform well. It's just because they had their preferred person and there's nothing you can do about it. So you will keep looking for a job. End of the video, guys. I really wish everyone who is looking to change jobs all the best. For people who might be having an interview in the near future, I wish you success. I hope these interview tips are going to be helpful. They've worked for me in several interviews, and it's always good to be well prepared. So until next time, subscribe, like, share, and comment. Adios.